All right, welcome back to Twin Flame Energy Podcast. I'm your host, AJ.
And I am your co-host, Dominique, and we are here tonight for round 2.
Yep.
Recording snafus, bad audio that was just unusable. And a
lot of that was going on.
Is that a ringing I hear?
Well, yeah, I was closing your the thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is round 2. We were supposed to post last night, but we'd rather be a day late than to give shitty audio.
Literally.
So here we are. This is podcast number 15. The title of today's podcast is Addicted to Struggle.
Yep. And the first article comes from rimanori.com. And the title of the article is, Are You Addicted to Struggle? Here are 10 clues. All right. You believe whatever you'll do, it is not much worth if there's no blood, sweat, and tears. I hear you. I grew up with the one and am still working on it. You believe deep down that you deserve things coming easy. This often stems from the fact that deep down you believe you don't believe. Wait a minute. It's like weird. Deep down you believe that you don't deserve anything at all, or that you feel you're a fraud, and soon enough find out, then at least you'll have the struggle to justify yourself. Okay. All right. You are used to things, or you are used to get things the hard way. You'd be utterly suspicious, or you'd feel like a fraud again. Suddenly, there was no more struggle. A bit like parents who grow suspicious when the children suddenly go quiet. Working through struggles keeps you busy, so you don't have much time for anything else. That's ideal if you want to avoid looking at some not so pleasant truths. Who doesn't? You are prouder when you obtain things through struggle, as when you decide a struggle when you obtain the same results with ease. And then you constantly feel that you are in some ways broken and need to be fixed. Next week I'll show you for sure fire way to see if that is you. And then, of course, the exterior circumstances need to change before you can really fill in your personal struggle, addicted delusion, if only. And then you tell the exact same story about your struggle to several persons in a row, convincing yourself more each time that things are hard, not to be confounded with letting steam off once and for good to get something out of your system. That's rather healthy. Harping on and on the same things, whining and complaining is not. And then you insist on doing yourself things that you don't like and are not good at, rather than delegate or downright jump them. And then, last but not least, you are a perfectionist. Yeah, so question. Do you think you have any addictions? Healthy or unhealthy?
I'd say absolutely. I think we all have... Ooh.
That was me. I was moving around.
Gotcha. I think we all have addictions.
Mm-hmm.
I think to be addicted is never healthy, because it's just really about achieving balance. So even if you have something that is important to you, like if you work out 7 days a week, 1 hour every day, and that is a commitment you've made to yourself, and you don't let that not go, I don't see that as an addiction, because it's 1 hour a day. I think that's about healthy living. If you're at the gym 16 times a day, that's an addiction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in terms of myself, I don't think I have any addictions. I think I do have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
So it could happen, but currently no addictions. Do you have any addictions?
I mean, I would say I don't have an addictive like personality. I don't have that when it comes to things and stuff. But I may have maybe subconscious addiction to a challenge or needing to, fix something or get it done, or I want it to break so I can fix it, kind of thing. Possibly.
You want it to break.
Yeah.
That's a bit strange.
But I'm saying I'm not saying that I want that to break. I'm saying that it's almost like a subconscious thing. You know what I mean? And I guess I find myself in that, because then once it does break, it's like I engulf myself around it to fix it, to fix it. And then I kind of like that feeling of the accomplishment of once I fixed it. And I'm like, wow, I did it. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't
I get
like
it.
when the washing machine broke and the dryer broke and everything else in the house broke, and I have no clue, but then I end up doing it. I tapped into engineering things. I'm like, I kind of like it. But, like I said, it's subconscious. It's not like I'm sitting there saying, I hope it break. I don't.
But you get a kick out of like finding out how to fix new things. That's not an addiction.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an addiction.
Well, I guess that's good for
You're
you too.
You're addicted to vegan food.
Addicted to vegan food?
Yes.
I mean, it's not really an addiction. It's just.
I say it's an addiction.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I say that for me, like, vegan food has cured my life.
What if tomorrow
That's
it
what
didn't?
I would say. That's what I would say.
What if something, like, here's the thing. What if tomorrow someone said to you, your health is deteriorating, you must change your ways? Would you be open to that, or would you be like, no, I don't believe that?
Well, I guess I'm intuitive with it. So if I feel that something is off with certain things, then I would change and do whatever I feel. But see, the thing is, I get tired of people not understanding my struggle and what I've been through and how I've changed things. And once I changed that literally changed my life. I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I love when people, I would love it if people would leave me alone and let me just live, because for me, I'm extremely happy, and that's the way that I've been, because I haven't been sick in 5 years. I haven't had an issue in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. It's my journey, my thing. So I don't consider it addiction. I'm intuitive with it.
Right. And same here. I'm intuitive. I personally did not get. I've actually had the opposite effect of going with the vegan foods. I've had more issues because of it. So for me, intuitively, I have to understand that it may not work for me the way it works for you.
Yeah.
So the second article comes from everydaypower.com, and the title of this article, befittingly, is also Why Are We Addicted to Struggling? So I have a quote here from Mary O'Malley. The healing you long for doesn't come from changing anything. It comes from the ability to see and be with what is. Okay? So if you are honest with yourself, you will see that your mind believes the opposite of the statement above. My brain stopped for a second. Okay. In addition to solving problems, your mind creates them. It is a problem factory. It is addicted to struggle, and it turns even the smallest thing into problems, and then spends most of its time trying to figure out how to fix them. If it isn't concerned about the new pimple on your chin, it is concerned about how your neighbor mows his lawn. These little concerns mushroom into big concerns like, will I get cancer? Or will they reject me? Or will I have anything left in my retirement fund? If you watch your mind, you will see that as soon as it solves one problem, it comes up with another. And if it can't solve one, it throws you into despair. I often say that we are sitting in paradise, constantly trying to unravel a ball of yarn and believing if we just unravel, then everything will be okay. I have news for you. Trying to make your life okay will never make it okay. That is just the game of the problem factory. The ball of yarn is endless. And what would it be like to take a break from this endless struggle inside and step out of the problem mode? What would it be like to know that there is no ball of yarn to unravel? What would it be like to be able to connect with the paradise that is always with you, right here and right now? So the question is, do you honestly, deep down in your soul, feel you can overcome the addiction to struggle, or do you even want to? Meaning, any of us, any of you guys listening out there, or do we just love it too much? You know?
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, that's the thing. Like I was saying, you know, I thought I was falling in the category of subconscious addiction to a struggle. People probably really do, deeper and further than I could even imagine. You know what I mean? And not even just subconscious, but there's people who probably really get off with doing that. And I don't know.
Yeah,
you know
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
I know for what I've just read is about me. My brain is a problem factory, and when I don't have any problems, I get depressed.
Right.
Because I don't have any problems, and so I have to find. Like even today, I told you on the way home from work, I was like, I just feel low, but there's nothing wrong. Right. Like, nothing being wrong doesn't make me happy. That's strange.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I get it. I definitely get that.
So, I mean, in reality, we get obsessed with just having... Problem solving is fun, so maybe there's that addiction of problem solving. And if you don't have a problem to solve, then it's like, what do? You know? Right. So,
what do you do with that?
I have a quote here, another quote by Eckhart Tolle that I'm going to read, and I kind of want to get your idea of what you think it means, okay? So, when the pain body has woken up, you may experience turbulence. Be present. Give it your full and complete attention. Don't let it overwhelm your thinking. Watch it. Feel its energy in your body. Full attention means full acceptance. This brings forth transmutation into radiance. What do you think that means? Or what does it mean to you, I mean?
Radiance. A full, like... I would think it's like a full scope of being fully in tune with self and aware, and then getting that, you know what I mean, that whole like idea, like there it is, you know what I mean, kind of effect. That's the radiance part. You know what I mean, something like that.
Yeah. And it's just like, even when things are shitty, take the moment to graze in the shit, because there are pebbles of goodness.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in the shit.
Because I mean, in reality,
or things to learn.
We can't get to the good without going through the bad.
And you don't learn anything in the good.
No.
There's really nothing to learn there.
No. And that's why going into like a lot of, you know, parenting in certain ways is like, people do everything for their kids. They clean up their room, and then they don't let them learn anything. They don't teach them anything. They do everything for them because that's their baby. And then when they get older and they don't know how to, then they look at them like, why you don't know how to this? Why you don't know how to that? And it's like, well,
nobody actually
they never
told me,
really went through anything.
Me.
So that way they don't know how to get it done. They don't know how to do things. They don't know how to struggle and then overcome that.
Right.
Just like how, you know, you look baby books and they tell you, teach your baby how to self-soothe. It starts at birth. That we have to go through that struggle, learn how to overcome it ourselves through self versus anything else.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just how I look at that.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
The little tidbit they have here is that they say that it speaks to what we are exploring. It's about how you can become an alchemist, turning your struggling self into a free-flowing aliveness that is truly you. So it's almost like you really don't even meet yourself until you've been through the fire. Like even in a relationship, you don't really know your partner until you've been through fire. If you haven't been through something big, you don't even know each other.
Yep. That's it. Literally. So the third article comes from HuffPost.com, and the title is, "Are you addicted to struggle?" While working hard, overcoming challenges and adversity, and being passionately committed to important and complex things in our lives aren't inherently bad. Resisting ease and being attacked to struggle causes me and so many of us a great deal of stress, worry, and pain. And in many cases, this difficulty is totally self-induced and unnecessary. What if we allowed things to be easier? What if we started to speak out on our own about the aspects of our lives that are actually easy to us and started to expect things to get even easier? What if we let go of our attachment or addiction, as it were, to struggle? Easy doesn't mean lazy, that we aren't willing to work in a passionate way, or that we expect a free ride. It means that we are willing to have things work out, trust that all is well, and allow life to flow in a positive and elegant way for us. Our desire and ability to embrace ease in our life isn't selfish, arrogant, or unrealistic. It's profoundly optimistic and in an authentic way, and can actually enhance our ability to impact others. The more energy and attention we place on surviving, getting by, or even striving for success, the less available we are to give, serve, and make a difference for other people. Although it may seem counterintuitive to us, letting go of our addiction to struggle is one of the best ways we can show up for those around us, both by our example and with our freed up positive energy. So the question is, why do you think it is so hard for us to believe in the idea that we deserve good things just because we are here and we exist as a birthright?
I personally think that society won't allow us to.
Right.
Like, we spend so much time pointing fingers at each other instead of worrying about ourselves. And that's not being narcissistic or being selfish.
Right.
But it's like, if everybody worried about themselves, then everybody could be taken care of. And then it's like, if you have those moments of weakness where, hey, you don't have enough to take care of yourself, it's loaded, because at the end of the day,
right, it is.
Like, if somebody is low on energy, they should rest. If someone is feeling like their mental health is at risk, they should be able to tend to that. Right. However, we live in a world where if somebody's resting, they're lazy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's so much finger pointing that people don't even know what the hell is going on
at all. But
they just make assumptions and think they know when they know absolutely nothing.
Right. It's quite annoying, because that's what society trains us, and I think society's point is to cause trauma on every single last one of us. Absolutely, because everyone will get there. I mean, at the end of the day, because they put out ideals of what is what and how it is and how it's supposed to be, but then nobody ever knows what they actually feel. Because
everyone, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you think, everyone at some point in their life will suffer a mental breakdown.
Yep.
Whether they know it or not.
Right.
Whether you just get to the point where living in a low vibrational way, where you pretty much don't ever experience true happiness, is your median, and that's just like what you do.
Right.
That's not healthy.
Just, right.
So it's like everybody will suffer some type of mental breakdown at some point in time, and until you understand that, you're going to always point the finger that something is wrong with someone else.
Yep.
Yep.
Literally. Yep, so what we're going to do is we're going to enjoy this quick music break, and we will be back in a moment.
Dims my eyes in the dark room, my eyes ignite. I just wanna know truth, and I know I must go through. I don't think that this is life. I need to meet my darkest side. I'm ready to move, and I need you to do.
Shadow, come vibe off of me. I'm the shadow in between the beats. I'm the shadow, come vibe off of me. I can do what I want now, yeah. I can do what I want now, yeah. I can do what I want now, yeah. Do what I want now, yeah. I may be closer than I thought. Every time I look and then you're gone. There's a lot that you know that I don't know, and I wanna see exactly what goes on. And I don't even know a friend or foe, and I don't even know what I will do to find me. Zombie or a cartoon me, I'm ready to jump. I don't think you're ready. For the truth that exists. I think you're ready to see all that is in. I don't think you're ready. I'm ready to think you're ready. I don't think you're ready. Between the beats, I'm the shadow, come vibe off of me. I'm the shadow in between the beats. I'm the shadow, come vibe off of me. I can do what I want now, yeah. I can do what I want now, yeah. I can do what I want now, yeah. Do what I want now, yeah.
All right, we are back from the break. That song is entitled "The Nether."
That song is
by
so
Vapors.
dope.
For so fitting.
That
Basically,
song's so dope.
And I don't normally do this, but this is something I kind of want to get into sometime. Basically, just giving a backstory in the song. It gives a perspective of exploring the lower realms of self,
right.
And not being afraid of them, because they are a part of who you are, and without full understanding of them, you will always be fractured. So never truly whole. So it's the shadow work. So definitely, it's a great song about that, and of course, it's available wherever you choose to stream
go
your
buy that
music.
now. Like that's everything. So And we are going to the book of the month. Okay. And this month's book again is Married Roommates. How to go from a relationship that just survives to a marriage that thrives by Talia Wagner. This week we are discussing chapter 3, which is called Where Did We Go Wrong? This is the last chapter of part 1, which is called Marriage, the Missing Owner's Manual. So let's go ahead and dive on in.
Yes, we shall. So we're going to start with an example, actually. And this example is about a plumber. So
you be hearing my pages and stuff.
I know, mine too. So as a plumber, he has to do the actual work of fixing a leaky faucet. Sound like more than pages going on.
Yeah, I know.
You're having a
over
moment?
Here falling. And,
yeah, I noticed.
Fell out my chair.
Anyways, a plumber has to do the actual work of fixing a leaky faucet or a broken toilet. But the work doesn't end there. He has to work at maintaining and building a client base, continuously advertising his services, keeping tabs on finances and accounting for what money comes in and out, as well as managing staff. Right. Marriage should have the same level of investment. Working on your relationship creates accountability and growth in ways that just going through the motions daily is just not going to cut it.
Right.
So, the importance of working on your marriage. Going into marriage, you often don't realize how absolutely necessary it is to manually maintain the quality and the longevity of the relationship. You do not fully understand the emotional bond between you needs constant work to continue to thrive. From that perspective, many of us don't even know how to be married. That's pretty deep to say. Like, most people don't have a clue.
Yeah. I will say that was me, and
it's all
there's
of us.
There's a lot though.
We learn from movies.
You just learn as you
you watch movies and you think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, then you're like, clearly I don't have the right marriage.
Right.
But
and 11 years later, you're like, oh, I figured it out. You know what I mean? So. And
our daughter is calling me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hi, Ellie. We're recording the podcast. Can I call you back? Okay, bye-bye.
Aw, you hear on the little thing.
But she's 9.5.
Right.
Okay.
Going on 20.
Right. So, they see relationship as a function of what it serves in their life as a co-parent, financial partner, and so on. They give little time or effort to thinking about their union of couple as its own entity. This is where marriage is neglected until something goes wrong. And that's when people spring into action, newly determined to save their marriage. Because it's like, there's something wrong with it. Versus, it's like a car. If you get your oil changed every 3,000 miles, then you're like, you're keeping up certain things versus waiting until like you blow a head gasket on the side of the road. And then when you want to be like, oh, we got to get this fixed. Yep. This is the wrong way to go even in your marriage. So this limited perspective of marriage isn't your fault, guys. It's not our fault. At the onset of marriage, we weren't given a pamphlet to guide you through the maintaining a good and healthy marriage. No one truly explained or walked you through the difficulties and frustrations you will inevitably face together, especially when you have a markedly different idea about your home, your family, or your money. Having this skewed outlook on marriage leads many to erroneously believe that their bond to be strong enough to withstand the ups and downs of life without any ongoing maintenance. Like being like, this is such a great car. I don't need oil changes. I don't need anything. It's just going to run forever.
Like, okay.
Yeah, right. Stupid. But it says, unfortunately, this obviously is a falsehood. Your connection is like a living being that needs to be nourished or it will wither away. This bond must be fed and protected. Otherwise, you will become, at best, roommates who still have regard for one another in a friend-like or sibling-like manner, or at worst, the relationship morphs into ugliness and contempt.
Yep. Yep. That is that.
Yep.
So, the best and worst of roommates. Okay? So, at their best, married roommates can have the greatest of friendships. It is a relationship between two people who genuinely respect and love each other. They live together harmoniously, supporting one another, and enjoy spending time together. Those in this category have a great relationship, but it feels more like a platonic one. There is no sexual chemistry, attraction, and fiery interest in one another. While being married to your best friend is a giant pro. For most marriages, as roommates, even the best of roommates may find that they miss out on having sexual intimacy and experiencing passion. These are integral, non-negotiable parts of a romantic relationship. And when it is missing, it impacts the emotional connection, making the marriage feel incomplete. So these roommates may share a high degree of non-sexual intimacy, like snuggling on the couch, supporting tough times at work, or being on the front line of family drama. They may seemingly be content with this situation, as this type of intimacy has as its strengths. Nonetheless, it is not enough to sustain them as individuals or as a couple over the long haul of life together. When the romantic side of a relationship gets suppressed by the other roles you each play, co-parents, business partners, roommates, the connection once shared feels lackluster. While some couples may find themselves content together despite being roommates, most are not. So society's focus on individuality creates a me and mine approach that does not align with the mindset needed to your union. As a collective, and every man for himself mentally works against your marriage. This idea we can still maintain the individual mindset with regard to tasks, money, family, and decisions is something we witness in couples dynamics on an almost daily basis. This undermines their ability to be united as a team and works against a successful marriage. Despite this reality, many couples insist on holding on to their individual paths, keeping their resources separate. Whether this is their bank accounts or social networks, they work in opposing ways rather than working together to create a joint system and strategies. Couples may fail to realize that the insistence on individual self-gratification and self-interest creates a mine versus our perspective that leads to each person focus on getting their own needs met and foremost.
Yeah. I also think in a lot of cases, because you have that individual mindset, you don't ever actually ask for what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I do think that is prevalent in our relationship, because I think for me, for example, I make up my mind what I don't think you will do, mm-hmm. and so I never even ask. Mm-hmm. And so then I treat you accordingly as if you've told me no, but I've never even asked. Mm-hmm. You think you get what I'm saying?
Say that again. Like, clarify.
Yes, what I'm saying is, when you have that, like me personally, mm-hmm. that individual mindset,
right?
So it's like you make up in your mind, because we've been married for 11 years.
We vets in the game.
So you assume, like, okay, you know everything about this person. So you automatically, if you're into something or you want to try something, you automatically make up in your mind whether or not this person will be down to do this. But you never actually ask.
Right.
You've already just made up in your mind that the answer is no.
Right.
And then you treat the person as if they told you no. Right. But you never actually asked.
Right.
So you never actually made your request known. You just treat the person as if they've already shut it down.
Yes.
And I know I do that.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
I think most recently
You-
was the first
you-
time that I've
yes.
actually just told you, like when we had.
I remember we had a
did-
conversation.
It was what we did with Ellie the other day. We did a exercise. It came like it was off the top of the dome, and we had the pieces of paper and we, the questions and all of that.
Right.
And then one of the things was to write down 2 things that you need from me. So it's like you wrote down 2 things you need from me. Ellie wrote down 2 things she needs from us. Et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And that was the first time that I think that I finally just kind of told you what 2 things I need from you, just outright.
True. And I would say, you tend to do that a lot. Where, you know what I mean? You tend to say, I don't know how to explain it, but yes, you do. And honestly, it's been recent. Like I said, we had a conversation at one point, and you had said something, and you were like, I never really realized this, or I never really realized that you this, or you asked a question, and I was like, honestly, it's funny because you've never actually asked. You know what I mean? And people have the connotation that, man, you've been married for 20 years, you know every in and out and everything. No, your relationship blooms, and there's more mysteries and things to uncover.
Yeah.
As you go on, because as you're growing with someone, no matter if you're 20 or if you're 90, it's like you're learning something new about yourself. So then you find out things you didn't know.
Even about yourself.
I didn't know I like apple pie. I never had apple pie.
I know. And
then she gave me
last
some
month. Now he loves it.
And I was like, that's actually good. Because I don't like sweets. I don't really care. But it was actually pretty good. You know what I mean?
And you don't give your partner or yourself room to grow. So the thing about it is, assumption is like the death of all things.
Right.
Because basically it's like, you assume I don't like something.
Yep.
After 20 years, I try it again, now I like it. And then you order my food for me, and you order without it. But this time I was looking forward to it.
Well, look, you are definitely an advocate of today you love this, tomorrow you hate it.
I definitely,
you are
and I'm trying to get back to that. I used to be a person who woke up in the morning happy every single day, because I was an advocate for the idea that every day was a new day. I don't know where that person went, because I definitely am not that person now. I wake up every day like, woe is me. But I'm moving away from that. So, yeah, basically. So, to get a little bit more into this, teamwork must be developed and maintained. It will not just gel together without ongoing input from its members. Acting in a manner outside of our own self-interest and desire does not always come naturally, even if it is our intention to do so. It's learned behavior. If you want events to play out differently, you need to negotiate to strike a balance and find a middle ground that is beneficial to both parties. Take into consideration that the core concept of marriage means that you don't get life on your own terms. You must give and take and make connections for the greater good. This does have to be this just does have to be you solely sacrificing. It is a constant balance between being the partners and the family wants and needs. Communication and compromise are so important that without them, the metaphoric potato sack keeps you together begins to rip apart at the seams. That keeps you together begins to rip apart at the seams. Learning to problem solve effectively moves you both towards compromise, where it is easier to understand and negotiate, rather than doing so from a place of distance where each of you stands firm and unbending in your own interpretations and beliefs. Underlying differences in viewpoints, values, and beliefs must be communicated and then compromised on. You need to learn to recognize and accept your differences. Trying to change them does not work. In order for you or your connection to remain positive, it is crucial to learn to accept one another and respect the fact that you are different. The countless small steps that it takes to become married roommates are comprised of endless individual choices, behaviors, and attitudes. Those seemingly insignificant moments serve to move you further away from your mate. If you can change those interactions to be more positive experiences for both of you, the opposite will happen.
Right.
Instead of moving away from one another, you will grow closer as a team. Some might balk and resist doing the work that they need to do to sustain a healthy relationship. They may refuse to utilize the reframes or strategies necessary to make the changes needed for this improvement.
Right.
They may have a negative attitude or give up when it starts to get more challenging. Those same people don't usually stop to consider the alternative. And I thought this was really cool. It says, what happens when you don't do anything to fix it? Does your relationship stay stagnant, or does it deteriorate further? What if you could actually not be as, what if it could not be as painful as you imagine, but could make your life better?
Right.
That's always a scary thing. And that's why, honestly, when you get to a point where you experience fear, like if someone wants you to do something and it makes you uncomfortable and it makes you feel scared or vulnerable and all those kinds of things, it's obviously easier said than done, but it's almost like those should be the red flags that tell you that you absolutely should do whatever is being asked of you.
Right.
Because those feelings only come up as a way to hold you back.
Right.
So whatever is like on the other, I think it was Will Smith that said, I can't remember word for it, but just basically all of the best shit is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when you start to feel that lump in your throat, or you feel uncomfortable, or you feel like, I don't want to do it, there are two things you should ask yourself. First of all, or maybe three, we'll see. The first thing you should ask yourself is, the person who's asking me to do this, do they love me?
Right.
Second of all, if I do what they're asking me to do, is it going to hurt me? And then third of all, if I decide not to do it, depending on how important it is to the person asking, am I willing to lose them over this?
Right.
I think those are three things to ask yourself, anybody, you know what I mean? Because if the answer to those, like if someone's asking you to do something that's going to hurt you, like if you're in a marriage or whatever and your spouse decides they want to start doing drugs, I don't know, whatever. Even if it's a situation where it's like plant medicine or anything like that,
right.
that's a solo journey.
Right.
That's not something you have to do together. I believe in plant medicine. Hello.
Yeah.
But if I decided that I wanted to take some deep diving ayahuasca journey, the only reason why it would be a good thing is if I knew I was doing it for me. If I ever put pressure on you, like you have to do this with me, then it becomes not what it's supposed to be for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's supposed to be for your own self-exploration.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be for your inner journey.
We're not talking about let's play hide and seek outside
right.
and play tag.
Yeah,
and
that's
this is
not.
just, come on and play with me.
Right.
No, this is like we're gonna actually do something that could change your life.
Exactly.
So,
give you further insight into.
So allow
your
people
soul.
to have their journey.
Yes.
Their own journey.
Exactly. So I think as long as you know that the person that is asking you to do something loves you, what they're asking you to do is not going to bring you harm, and that whether or not you are willing to lose this person, whether or not it's a yes or no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if it's something that's truly important to someone and you decide that is something you do not want to do, you also have to give that person the right to say, because this is so important to me and you don't want to do this, we can at this moment decide to part ways.
Right.
And know that I'm doing what's best for me, you're doing what's best for you. We have no animosity, we have no bad blood, but we can agree to disagree and move forward in two separate directions.
Right.
Or it might be a situation where you don't break up, but at the same time you understand that in a marriage you're also all that 1 + 1 makes 1 crap. No, 1 + 1 always makes 2. Mm-hmm. 2 different people. So at the end of the day, if there's something that your spouse wants to do and you're not interested in, but you want to keep your spouse, then at that point you can make the decision to let that be something that they do in their life,
right?
That does not involve you.
And not everybody is I would say lucky to be in a situation where everything that you want to do, the other one wants to do it.
Right. We have very few things.
That's kind of rare, and that's why we're twin flames, and why we understand certain things, but even though we have so many things, there is still some things. Like, she loves guacamole. I don't.
Oh, my God.
I mean, there's some things, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, the last little paragraph that I have to read here. See the effort that you put into today as an investment for your future success. If you do the hard work now of learning to function as a collaborative team, effectively communicating, resolving conflict, and maintaining the relationship itself, you may avoid the hard work you will have to do later.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the takeaways. Your relationship needs ongoing work to survive. Marriages often are neglected until something goes wrong. This reactive approach must change to a preventative one, and focused on maintaining our maintenance and ongoing commitment and investment from its members. Your bond is not strong enough to withstand years together without fixes, course corrections, and a strong emotional bond. You will have downturns, but you must recover by pulling yourself out of stagnation, not just accepting it as normal. Roommates can be good or bad friends. Home may be calm and loving, and contentious and combustible. What married roommates all lack, though, is the right romantic, emotional connection to be a couple. Change this reality by working together as teammates to tackle problems, and at the same time to rebuild your emotional connection. Work together to make joint decisions, even on seemingly individual issues. You are now a team, and you will benefit it. If you learn to navigate life as a unit. Situations will play out differently if you negotiate and find common ground and compromise. More often, this will get you to a win-win situation rather than a lose-lose. Underlying differences in viewpoints, values, and beliefs must be communicated and then compromised on. You need to learn to recognize and accept your differences, because trying to change them does not work. And then finally, redirecting your time and current habits will take work, but the payoff will be enormous. On the flip side, failing to address issues that will continue to deteriorate without your involvement kicks the can down the road, where the options to save your connection will be much more limited.
Yep. So next week we will be discussing chapter 4, which is communication corrections. This is the first chapter of part 2, which is called The Great Relationship Decline and Redefine. If you are following along with us, we will be reviewing 1 chapter per week to give us time to obviously digest all the goodness and reflect on all the information that we have received.
All right. So it's that time for pick a card. Any card. We have switched up the deck again this week, and we will be pulling from the And Long-Term Couples Edition cards. It's like, I don't know if nobody will ever understand what I'm saying right there.
The And.
Until you could see physically what I'm talking about.
The cards are called the And.
The And. Long-Term Couples Edition cards. They are black for color coding purposes, and cards that we have picked for the week are
And of course, I went back to obviously the card that we picked last night because we lost all that footage. However, my answers are different. I was in a really bad mood last night. I'm in a great mood today. So, what's the greatest gift you've given me is the question. So, I'm going to answer first.
Okay.
I said Ellie, and I still mean that. But also, I'm going to say our musical connection.
Okay. And I said she has taught me what love is and where, like, what and how to process love and self-love. So, and I'm still learning. And she's here with me on that journey. And the fact that she is still here with me on my journey as I find out what love and self-love is, that's one of the greatest gifts that anyone could ever give. And of course, Ellie.
My nose is whistling. I don't know why. That was
is
random.
It really?
Yeah. And of course with Ellie, Elijah as well. Our
Absolutely.
foursome. Even though he's not always here with us at the house.
Yep.
We're a foursome here.
Yeah, because when y'all came, he was my little road dog.
Yeah.
He went everywhere and did everything with me. You know what I mean? So giving me a family and teaching me love are the greatest gifts you've given me. Absolutely.
Well, before we get all weepy and misty-eyed, we definitely want to close. Stop it!
Oh, sorry.
Did the food come? Like, for real?
Yep, that's why she's happy today.
So, that does it for this week's podcast. We will be back next week with more amazing content to share and discuss. All of the articles used to drive today's discussion forward can be found in the description box, as well as the link to the book of the month, Married Roommates, How to Go from a Relationship That Just Survives to a Marriage That Thrives by Talia Wagner. Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast, and we will see you next week. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, ignite your energy.